All right, welcome, episode 12, Knight of the Square Tablet. We're joined by the on-time, the streamer, the longsword master, Scotty Games.
What up?
And we're joined by the villain, the man who can't even show up on time, the coach, Soter Dave.
Hello, hello.
What's up, gentlemen? This is kind of like an emergency podcast here because I think all of our hearts have been broken by Torn Banner, which we'll get into that in a second. But I think we have a nice cast for you guys. We got a bunch of topics. Of course, the big one, Torn Banner, they screwed us again.
The elephant
Then
in the
we
room.
have a few new games coming out, medieval genre, and Warhaven just released. So we're going to start with, issue number 1, the update, the delay of the delay of the delay. Are we on 3 or 4 delays? I don't know at this point.
Hey guys, this is going to drop in August. Everybody, slaps each other on the back and they joke about how it's going to be August 29th. August 29th rolls around and we get the kick in the nuts. Hey guys, not going to be August.
August
Why?
2024, maybe. But
60th day of August has been the big joke in my Discord.
And they give us some very interesting, I don't want to call it an excuse, right? They give a pretty valid reason, even if we think it's invalid. They said all the content's done, and it isn't even that broken. It's just that the update validation that they have to do for consoles, some guy in the office obviously didn't do something. He's totally going to get fired. And so the update was not able to be released because you can't release it for just one platform.
do you think they're just saying that, or do you think it's other issues?
I trust them that they're telling the truth. But regardless, it is what it is. And apparently, even further issues arose. And I don't know, maybe the next guy they sent to validate it for consoles didn't do that. So he's going to get fired too. And they said now the update is delayed until fall. When is fall? Who knows?
So, do you guys know what causes a patch not to validate for consoles? Because I have the feeling something just broken. Badly broken.
This is not totally uncommon for indie studios. For example, Payday 3 just released, and that's a very big game from a similarly sized studio. Payday isn't a small name for a game, and the PS5 version of Payday is actually the beta, and it only has 1 map, while all the other versions have 8 maps. And also, it's supposed to be a cross-play game. So if you played on PS5, you actually could not play the game with your friends, or even play most of the game.
That's a Torn Banner move right there.
That is a Torn Banner move, and yeah, so it's not uncommon for the hoops and leaps that you have to do to get your game to work on console to be too much for these indie studios. I wish it wasn't. There are other studios who are more competent and don't have these issues, but I'm just saying it's not totally uncommon. It's not like just their fault.
I feel like there's a lot of different rules and stuff that come into play. Just differences in how to release on each platform too can just be something you gotta slog through.
Oh yeah, releasing your game on console and making updates for it is expensive. Compared to Steam at least, and compared to like PC, and so that's most likely another reason as to why patches are so uncommon compared to something like Dark and Darker, which is PC only.
Right.
Yo, the Dark and Darker devs kick ass. They release like a patch every 3 days. It's
exactly, and when you're working on your own software on PC, it's very easy because it doesn't cost anything. For Torn Banner, it costs every time they want to update. And so they kind of make those updates count. Although they could be a little bit more frequent than once every 3 months. But regardless, you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't gotten once every 3 months. I think at this point we're getting 2 this year, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we do a prediction like a while ago on how many updates we were going to get? And we were like between 2 and 3 or 2 and 4. We were kind of spot on a bit there with that prediction. I don't know what episode it was.
I was hoping that they would prove us wrong and, step on the gas harder than when they first started. But whether it be due to these issues or their own disinterest in milking us for what we're worth, they aren't.
Do you guys think
I have a lot of theories. Go, Scotty.
I was just going to ask, do you guys think they're going to add anything from what we saw in the sort of playtest that we did for the new map, or do you think it's just going to be what we saw, but working.
No, that playtest is the entirety of the content.
Yeah.
The only thing that will be added besides that is the Battle Pass cosmetics. But as for weapons and maps and such, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
2.9 Reclamation is the Reclamation of Moncrux, the Siege Crossbow, the balance changes that we tested in that playtest, and then the Battle Pass of cosmetics. There is nothing else. And that's why it's so confusing for everyone, right? It's like, what's with all these delays and issues for such a small, I don't want to call it a wet fart of an update, but a relatively, minimal update.
Well, it's a 6-month update. People really, really want an update, and it feels like the update, it's going to be a little lackluster, so it's not going to last too long. And
yeah, it's going to be incredibly underwhelming.
Like, I already know, and that's the shame of it. So, in my opinion, 4 updates a year sounds fair. Like, I think
once a quarter, I think.
Goal.
Yeah, as long as they're big and a little bit meaty, like it would be. It would make sense.
I think that also is good with the cycle of an update comes out, people come back to the game for a month or so. By 3 months, people start kind of moving on to different things. If you keep that pace where every 3 months or so for a year you have an update, it keeps people cycling into the game constantly. When you're on the pace now where it's once every 6 months, even veterans are starting to go do other stuff. Like people who really love the game. I pretty much only go to the competitive games at this point. I don't really play in pubs because I just I need something fresh. Like you gotta
at the
hold
moment,
my
even the competitive players, at least the majority of the ones that I talk to, are like, they're not even waiting for 2.9. They really don't care about that. Reasonably so. They care about the private servers and the other content, which is going to be added in 2.10. And it seems like even the developers know that this update is not going to be what we need it to be, because they're already telling us about how the TO map in 2.10 is going to be way better than the TO map in 2.9. Like, they know that they're shit. Like, what?
100%. If you got to say the next map is going to be one of the best ones they've ever released, that means the one you're releasing now, it ain't it.
I know. Yeah. And that's like, I mean, sure, I'm glad that they have confidence in their new map, but like the fact, the wording, I know they didn't mean it like this, but the wording made it sound like that was at the expense of this update and 2.8. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not how updates should be done. You should not be like gimping me in the content that you're going to give me now so I get a better update later. At the moment, people are already not too interested. Right, they're already disillusioned with the game. You need to kind of recapture their interest as soon as possible, not hold it off for some extravagant showcase in 2024.
Especially if it's taking 6 months for these half-ass, smaller maps. Like, I could deal with a 6-month update if you got Galen Court or Aberfell. When those came out, it felt epic. But when you're getting Bridgetown, and I haven't played Moncrux, but I've heard it's similar length, similar effort.
Oh yeah, you saw the videos. You saw how big it is. It's not big at all.
So when you're getting that every 6 months, it's less understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, there's no way of slicing it that makes it look good. They either gimped Bridgetown and Montcrux for the case of making the new map amazing, or they're just not as good at making maps. Either way, I'm not happy with the outcome. It doesn't matter which one.
I've had a lot of theories on this. It's been my opinion that something at the map development team has changed, whether it's personnel were shifted or personnel left and they have new people working on it. But the quality of Bridgetown and Moncrux seems so much lower than the originals, the Rudhelms, even Aberfell or Galencourt. They can't compare. So I think something's changed, or those people got shifted onto the new project. And I think it's a very possible scenario that we're currently in maintenance mode, and we just don't know it yet.
That too. I don't like being lied to if that's the case, right? Like I said, Stridah, I really don't see a good way to look at this. It's either they do have all hands on deck, and then it's just, surprisingly a pathetic, result, or they don't have all hands on deck, and they're lying to us about it. I'm not happy with either outcome.
I just released a video yesterday, actually, and I said this. It either means one of two things. Either they really suck at their job, or they have a skeleton crew on it now, and they're working the majority of the people on whatever their next game is.
Low-key maintenance mode.
They claim they're a studio of 100-plus developers. Not even staff, just the actual 100
I heard it's
developers.
130 at this point or something.
That's insane to me. And although that is not a massive studio, it is quadruple or sextuple the amount of people that they had when the game dropped. There is no excuse at this point. And if they want to go to Shiv 3 or Mirage 2 or whatever they want to make, fine. But say it. Say, hey guys, we're done working on this game. Thank you for playing.
I hope it's not Mirage 2, because by most accounts, I know Dave loved it, but by most accounts, it completely flopped.
Yeah,
so that would just be the stupidest thing they could ever do.
You know
I would love it.
Just another game, right?
I would love it to be Shiv 3, but I have a theory that they're going to want to show that they can make other games, and we're going to get like an FPS BR or something, and it's going to be nothing to do with medieval games. That's my big prediction. That would be the most Torn Banner thing to do.
The reason that they named their studio Torn Banner is they wanted to be known for games other than Chivalry. That's the actual reason.
Well, there you go.
They're gonna make.
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
They're gonna make some other like RPG, maybe using all the Chivalry lore. That's why they're building up all this lore, and they're gonna make some RPG instead of a.
I could take
which maybe
that.
wouldn't be the
If they
worst,
made a
but
medieval game of some sort with somewhat like Chivalry combat, I could get behind that. I'm just hoping it's not like, hey, we got to prove ourselves, so we're making a MOBA or something.
Yeah.
So I could deal with that. I would love an MMO with similar combat or something. I think that would be an interesting take if they made a Dark and Darker type game or a Renown type game with their combat and more experienced devs. I could take that too.
You see, I would think that it would be more likely that they would release a giant update with a game mode like that for the game. I don't know if like anyone remembers, but like Battlefield had like Firestorm or whatever it was called.
Oh god, that was terrible though.
It was terrible, right? But you can understand how much effort they put into that instead of making like a Battlefield battle royale.
It felt
game.
like not much. That was my least favorite BR I think I've ever played. I played a lot of them.
I'm saying that's what Torn Banner would do. Let's say they wanted to make an extraction game, they would probably add the extraction game mode into Chivalry 2 and then call it a day. But like I said, whether or not they're working on something else, it really does not matter because the outcome is still pitiful either way. You're either getting lied to or they're terrible, and there's no other way to slice it.
Yeah, no, as I've said too, and everyone's always, give the devs time, let them finish what they're working on. You don't want a broken patch. No, I don't want a broken patch, but I don't want to miss a deadline by 3 fucking months either. Like anywhere else, you get your ass fucking fired for that shit. So let's get the updates out somewhat on time.
We do always give them enough time, and the patches they release broken anyway. So I don't understand why would people say like, give them more time? We've given them plenty of time. Almost half of the updates that the game has had have released like months upon months after the initial release schedule that was given, even when they are very generous release windows.
I expect them to miss deadlines. I expect them to break parts of the games with the bugs and stuff. I expect there to be server problems. It's just par for the course. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of numb to it. I'm convinced, though, my theory is that something in the stab changes broke the game, and that's why they can't validate. I don't know. No truth or whatever.
I really just think it's cross-platform, tomfoolery. I think that, even Mortal Kombat, I thought it was going to have cross parties, but they don't even have cross. Yeah, there's cross play, but it's a Chivalry situation with Mortal Kombat. So I'm like, maybe there is something to this. And, there's something that's just really stifling cross platform development in this day and age. And maybe it's rules and regulations with PS4, and then if something goes wrong with one platform, that'll hold the release for everything else because you can't release the game on different versions on different platforms. So it's just what's happening with modern day gaming and cross-platform stuff. I don't know, but I hope they figure it out, man. Like every time I log on to Shiv and stream it, I feel the negativity, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about Shiv right now. I don't want to. I've heard everything. I agree with you guys. You guys are preaching to the choir.
I hate to be cruel to them. I do not like to be overly critical of them because I always appreciate the work they do.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these updates, when you are left with zero communication, complete radio silence,
sure,
and then
man.
the only time they decide to give you an announcement is to delay an update, and they completely lock you off. Other than that, it's very hard to have sympathy.
Well, I was talking about how as content creators we rely on the developers to give us content to make content about, and lately all they've given us is negativity to work with. So obviously my videos are going to be a little bit more critical than they would normally. If the patch came out and I loved it, I'd be talking about how amazing the
True.
Chivalry was.
Well, I'm just saying, if they were leading you through the processes that they're going through, right, instead of giving you incredibly vague, short, one-sentence announcements of, hey, it's delayed, then maybe you would have a little bit more to talk about, and you would have a little bit more to sympathize with.
It'll never happen because they've gone AAA in so many ways in how they go about things. They won't say anything. They're afraid to say anything because of backlash. But you know what's not AAA or professional? Missing your fucking deadlines.
That's true. That's true.
Also being late to podcast. Nah, I'm just kidding.
That's true as well.
Double digits.
I'm
10 minutes. 10 minutes for the coach.
I'm just kidding.
The coach always struck me as more of a 5 minutes early type guy, but
I typically am. I don't know what happened today. It won't happen again.
Oh, man.
I'm just kidding. Who cares? So, we're just chilling.
I have a question for you guys. Every game has like its life cycle and then its slow bleed out.
Yeah.
Do you think this year has done us in where the bleed out has started? Like we're just in maintenance mode. The core people say, but slowly things will kind of.
Well, I mean, you got to remember how old is Shiv now? It's like over 2 years old now.
2 years.
So yeah. I mean, like, every game after 2 years is always going to have a whittled down small community, and like the numbers on Twitch and stuff are going to be lower, obviously. But right now, I think we're in a very one of the lowest points that I've seen in the Shiv population in general. And I mean, people. So there's like people who are like us that stay in the game, and then there's travelers, right? And you need that fresh blood of like tourism. It's almost like gaming tourism, right? Oh, there's a new thing out in Shiv, and you get a bunch of tourists, and then some stay. And so when you have that slow bleeding out of the population, it's hard to get back unless you really put out an update that's worthy of people really coming back. And then I don't know, it's just we're just in that low point, Chivalry 2 as a community.
That's why I like that 3-month development cycle, because it would keep those tourists coming back pretty regularly.
Yeah.
I'll make it very clear. We've said it a million times, and it will stay the same. If they keep on doing updates as they have, then it will continue to decline as it has been. It does not matter how good they get at making TO maps. It will never make the game grow. That's just not how it works. Respectfully, new players do not care. If this game had 100 team objective maps, it would not grow. And it's a crazy sentiment to have, but it's the truth.
No, that's true,
The game needs to actually significantly improve in other areas by making massive reform to how the game is played. It genuinely needs to play different and have a different way for people to engage with it for it to actually grow in size. Other than that, they can maintain the very small players they have left, I guess, by producing content faster, but they're not doing that either. So...
And Reap makes a good point, saying that so many games have also come out like in the last 2 months that also you're going to get beat out by other games. And
they have a monopoly over their genre, but gamers are not typically, they don't just play a single game, right? If they find something that's good, even if it's not typically what they would play, they'll go over to it, like Baldur's Gate, right? Baldur's Gate 3, definitely not a lot of people's first choice. You can't tell me that many people were into D&D, right? No, they just saw a really good game, and even though it didn't necessarily play like they usually would like a game to play, they were like, wow, this is really good. I'm just going to play it instead. And so... unless Chivalry 2 drastically changes this year, which I don't think it will, because in their little announcement, they said 2024 is going to be another great year for Chivalry. What are they talking? Are they insane? 2023 was not a great year for Chivalry.
I think 2023 was the worst year for Chivalry since it released.
100%. It was the worst year. It didn't have Fight Night in it, but it was still the worst year. And... it's like to be that delusional to say it's going to be another great year. No, like give people some reason to actually believe that 2024 will be different, not the same. So yeah, if they continue to do the same exact thing with their updates, no, it's not going to grow. If they change, then yeah, maybe it'll grow.
No, you brought an interesting point there, and because at this point it doesn't feel like it's growth. It's pulling people back in. They already have the pool of people who've bought the game, and it's just getting them to come back with the maps and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's what it's doing. But I agree with you 100%. No person who's never played Chivalry is gonna see like one of my videos or a Torn Banner announcement says new team objective map and come back. Like, oh, let me get that game.
I don't know how many times I could say it. They could say tomorrow, guys, we've been working on 10 team objective maps and 15 weapons. And they release it all, and they're all perfect and bug-free. Game's still not growing. It's going to get a few more people to check it out.
It'll pull people back.
Yeah, it'll pull people back, and some people will check it out and buy it. But then it's just going to go down again. Like
people will buy Battle Pass then. And
people want a fun game to stick with, and they're not going to stick with it no matter how much content it has because it's the same. Well,
that's the crazy thing. They want to make money. They're so corporate. Release the Battle Passes every 3 months. We all buy them. Like.
And that, like I said, that's if they release content at a crazy fast pace, but they're not. So the other option is, like I said, drastically change your game and give people a reason to stick around. We've already talked about all the different ways you could do that, but that's all I'm saying. If they continue on the path they're on now, no, it'll not grow.
All right, so while we're talking about certain paths ending, other paths begin, and the coach is kind of an expert. We have a few upcoming slashers, very early in development, but they've shown some potential, so we're going to let Dave kind of take the lead here on Ad Mortem and Mobius.
Yes. Okay, so basically, right, slasher genre, growing. I'm going to call it the first-person melee genre right now, even though most of y'all play Chivalry 2 third-person. I'm going to call it the first-person melee genre because that's how these developers that are making Mobius and Ad Mortem would like to be referred to as. And they're going to... And that's what the genre used to be called before Chivalry 2 became popular. So Mobius and Ad Mortem are both 5v5 competitive-focused first-person melee games that are going to be releasing within the coming years. I don't know if it's going to be soon or later, but they both have Steam pages made for them. And they both have recently announced that their development has been going on for quite some time. Ad Mortem seems to be a little bit more artistic, kind of with a fantasy Dark Souls type vibe. They showed some characters off that they're going to be having in their game. And Ad Mortem is also quite interesting because it will have a side co-op PvE mode as well, which will not have as much focus as the competitive, but will be an option.
And Dave, Ad Mortem is the one that was made by like former Mordhau and Chivalry players?
I think they're both made by former Mordhau and Chivalry players. As for gameplay, you can expect both of them to play more like Mordhau than like Chivalry, but obviously that is not to undermine them. Although I prefer Chivalry 2 combat, that does not mean that these devs are going to make a trash game. They both are obviously extremely confident in their game. Most likely will have different gameplay, but still around the first-person melee combat. Mobius has a very unique aspect to it, which is that it is going to be free-to-play, which I think will draw in quite a lot of people to the genre that have not played it before. A free-to-play, competitive-focused game might just be what this genre needs to really pop off. What I find very interesting, though, is that this is going to be the first time where a first-person melee game is not necessarily trying to compete with Torn Banner. They're just entering the genre and fulfilling a different niche, which is exactly what's needed to be done. I've said it multiple times, Torn Banner is too talented and big for anyone to compete with them in the big medieval battlefield experience. But if you focused on something different, like a survival game like Renown, or a competitive 5v5 experience like Ad Mortem or Mobius, then you might actually have a chance. And that's exactly what these two games are doing. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I'm always a big supporter of new medieval games coming out, because whether they're good or not, we'll never know. Generally, most things that release tend to not be good, but the more competition we have in the genre, the better. I do personally have concerns with both of those games, not in their gameplay, not in their dev teams. I have concerns with you're making a niche for a niche, and to me, they're kind of taking the least popular modes of Chivalry and Mordhau and turning it into a game.
That's true.
So that's where I concern is with that.
Depending on how they do it, though, it could be more digestible of a viewing experience. for it being like, think about like Counter-Strike and stuff, or like anything that's competitive with like smaller teams, Dota. I think it has a lot of potential there, but I could see what you're saying. But I don't know much about Mobius, but Ad Mortem, I think blending the fantasy style, we haven't really seen like a slasher that has a lot of fantasy in it, and I'm really excited to see how Ad Mortem does it. And like, I don't know if it's a 5v5 battle. Is there going to be like NPCs that we're also fighting? No? Okay, so it's going to be strictly...
Ad Mortem will have a co-op experience on the side, as in another game mode where you can play co-op PvE. That is not the focus. The focus is 5v5 competitive matchmaking for both of them.
Yeah, so, I was thinking like something like For Honor or like Dota or something where you have characters on the map with NPCs pushing and...
To tackle that point, Stridah, right? You're saying they're focusing on the least popular aspect in an already niche genre. Typically, I would agree with you. But it's important to note that a lot of extremely popular games are... The 5v5 experience in Chivalry, for example, is the least popular mode because they focus on the 64-player aspect. If Chivalry 2 was designed for a 5v5 experience, and then on the side it had 32v32, it might be a very different looking game today. And so these games are not taking Chivalry and shoving them into a different package. They're remaking their own experience for a 5v5 competitive-based game. And those types of games are totally popular. CSGO, League of Legends, Overwatch, these are very small-scale games, right? Like 6 or 5v5, and they're extremely popular, if not the most popular games. Probably not more popular than like Call of Duty, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, no, I understand with the 5 and 5. It just, to me, like taking Mordhau combat, which already turns people off because a lot of people can't figure out.
And making it more competitive by shrinking the game mode.
A game mode that's already not that popular in the medieval genre, and then I think by 5-on-5, because I'm assuming you die, you don't respawn. It's going to be that type of game. No, it's going to be so hard. It's not going to be like you can respawn?
Yes. So both of them, although they're 5v5, they're not last team standing focused. They are objective focused experiences.
Okay. So it's more like Call of Duty type maps.
It's more like TF2.
Okay.
Have you ever played?
I was like, people are never going to learn this if they log into the game, they die, and they have to wait 3 minutes to get another shot at it. I'm like, my God, it's going to be so hard to pick up.
If you've played like TF2 or Overwatch, you can have a fully competitive experience with respawns just fine.
Yeah.
You play around an objective. Both. Now, I am not certain about Ad Mortem, but I know that Mobius is developing their own original competitive mode based around their small-scale combat. And I don't really want to talk on it now because I don't have all the details. I know it's similar to something that was in Mirage, but that's a whole other can of worms. All you got to know is that they are very confident in their ability to make a fun, engaging experience for everyone. Now, both of them have said that a big important aspect to them is accessibility, because the first-person melee genre is notoriously inaccessible to a large amount of people due to the combat. And just how difficult it is to understand. Not that it's like, 1,000 IQ stuff. It's just a small genre with not a lot of people that are good at it, so it's not going to be accessible.
I think understanding just things like drags and initiative when you're first coming in, it's like, what?
Yes, it's truly unique stuff, and it confuses a lot of people because there's nothing like it in any other game. And so because of that, these developers have said that accessibility is a very big, important thing. And they don't want their game to be like Mordhau. They don't want it to be difficult to understand. Now, I have asked some developers of Mobius, if you want accessibility to be such a big part, why did you go with a Mordhau-based combat system instead of a Chivalry 2-based one? And that kind of stumped him for a moment. But then he thought about it, and he said they are just comfortable with Mordhau combat because they've played it for longer, and so they are confident in their ability to make that fun, rather than making a game based on a combat system they're not experienced with in, of competitive sense.
I also have to add here that a game can still be successful even though it doesn't have a billion viewers on Twitch. It doesn't have a billion people playing. Yeah. It all depends on how much money is being put into development versus how much they're getting back. Like, a game doesn't have to be the greatest like everybody in the world playing it to be successful. I just wanted to add that in.
That too,
like,
but I think that should be the goal. I think the goal should be to be that.
I think for an online game, I feel like to be considered even remotely healthy in today's day and age, and if it's only on
you kind of have to blow up a little
at least
bit.
1,000 concurrent.
Yeah.
To maintain like where you can log in and just play. When you get under that line, it gets real negative real quick, and I feel like then people see the numbers and are like, "Fuck, I'm not playing this game."
Yes, I also don't think that these games will be crossplay. I'm not sure. I don't even think they're going to have console releases. I don't know.
You think they're going to be PC only, or
I do think they're going to be PC only. I really do.
Yeah,
I'm not certain though.
I think for most of these indie games, the small teams, like especially it's most of their first game that they make, I think it was such a big like bite or like such a big jump to go everything at once that it's just not possible.
There's a lot of stigma surrounding controller versus keyboard and mouse. Like either the aim assist on controller is so strong that controller wins every time, or this game is impossible to win with a controller. I never have seen a game where like it gets it so balanced that everyone's happy. So I just don't see it being realistic that these two competitive games are going to release on every platform crossplay. It doesn't seem
it's
like
an
it'll
impossibility to balance it anyway too, because when a lot of people who complain, it's people at the high end talking, but especially with console, you have some gamers who are so low skilled that they need like a massive boost to be functional.
Well, the argument there is just make it to where the game works with keyboard and mouse on console, and then there's not really much room for them to complain. You know, if it's a keyboard and mouse game, it's a keyboard and mouse game. There's not much to be said about it, right? You can't complain that hard. The line between platforms is blurred these days anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, that's really it. Those are the two games that are coming out. There will be more slashers coming out in the future. They have just not been announced, and so I don't feel comfortable really putting a spotlight on them, such as Contingent and a few others. But those two are the ones that have been like, here's the Steam page, look at it, get excited.
There's been a lot that's been in development, that's been announced, that's on Steam. If anything ever releases, I will be a very happy person. We'll see. Just a quick shout out. Renown currently has a free demo up. It's a game that we've talked about before. We've had the developers on. It's a medieval survivor slasher, think kind of Mordhau mixed with Rust. So if you were thinking of trying that game out, I would check it out and see how you like it, see how the development's going. I plan on playing it this weekend. So it is an option to get into one of these indies games that's actually developing, and it's very rare we get to see progress, so it'll be cool to see, and I can't wait to play that this week. And we just had Warhaven release. I know myself and Dave had played it. Scotty was telling me before we started he thought it was the worst game he's ever played.
I don't blame you, Scotty.
It's okay. Can I start with Warhaven? Because so I played it. I've just played it once, and it was in the beta. And I don't think it had a few of the other combat features that it now has. Like I don't think there was a concept of a perfect block input, and there wasn't a backdash that I saw. So literally, you know what it really felt like? It felt like if you took, you know how people in Chivalry 2 just left click block, just if you just made that the combat system, that's what it felt like, at least when I played it. I might give it another chance, but I stand by my opinion that it was one of the worst feeling games I've ever played in my life. On top of that,
Warhaven plays like more.
Clearly you never played Warlander.
I thought Warlander was way better.
You
way
did?
Better. Way
I
better.
uninstalled it after about a minute and a half.
Yeah, I mean, they're both. I'm not saying it's a good game, but it was way better than
I liked Warhaven way more.
Nah, dude. Oh my god. Well, I don't know. I need to give it maybe another go since it released at some point, just to give it a fair assessment. But dude, nothing feels worse than your character's movement. Just everything just feels the same. Like when you swing, you're just running around, left clicking. Okay, another thing that pisses me off, dude, when games do this, you are the avatar of death. Like when you get a kill and it has a big pop up right in where you're looking to attack and keep playing. It's like, dude, That stuff just drives me off the wall bonkers, man.
It is an incredibly Chinese game.
Yeah. It's Korean. It's Korean.
It's Korean, yeah.
Well,
it is
feels
everything you expect from a Korean free-to-play.
Yeah.
From the flashy cosmetics to the very expensive cosmetics.
The weird generic feeling art
to
style.
driving in on tanks while you're in full armor with swords.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense,
you're
but
driving on tanks. The knights have plate carriers. It's a very weird game with a very, I don't even want to call it a unique art style because it looks like For Honor.
It looks like
Yeah, it's generic
but
as
like,
hell.
I don't know. It's not the best game, and I don't think it will last long. The combat is, I said it before, it's what a Mordhau player thinks Chivalry's combat is like, but like actually like that. And,
Yeah.
Oh my, I don't know.
I've had some fun on it. I've played the release a little bit last night and a little bit today. I think it reminds me of like a light version of For Honor mixed with a tad of Chivalry. It's kind of like a casual jump in, get some melee, get a break from Chivalry. I don't mind it. I think it's one of those games that's probably a 6 out of 10. If you like medieval shit, maybe it's a 7 out of 10. I don't know how long the fun will be there, so I think it's one of those games if you want to try it, you got to try it.
It's a 3.5 out of 10, okay, boys? 3.5.
Yeah. The way the ultimates work is weird, too. You'll play like this big, burly guy, and you get your ultimate, and you turn into a tiny little witch girl. And it's like mid-combat, you'll like transform.
Yeah, so imagine Shiv
girl.
ultimates, but you transform into like an ultimate that just one hits everybody, and then you keep going. It's just like... And then at one point, everyone just gets their ultis at the same time and is just left-clicking each other, and it's just
they changed that. That's Scotty played the beta, so they made a few changes. Now you only get to use it once.
I will give it another chance.
Listen to this.
Okay?
Listen to this.
I will.
The biggest thing any game developer studio can do. They removed archery from the game. They got rid of them. They said, archers, you're the fuck out.
Yeah, but they have ballistas. Have you seen the ballistas in that game?
You know what? I've been getting hit by this like massive catapult thing on one of the maps that has like a huge cone like this, so you can't like really dash
the ballista
out of it
is like
if
a
you're
machine
in the middle.
gun. Then
I was like, that is gonna piss me off at some point. It is gonna cause a rage. It's like it's a massive like explosion. You can't like even if you start running as soon as you see it, you don't make it out.
So Stridah, you've been playing this? Like after
I've been playing. I
post-launch?
played a little bit last night.
I can't even believe that.
Well, Chivalry didn't update, so I'm in desperation here. I'm gonna probably play it after this. I'm too tired for Shiv, so I'm gonna hop on it. And look, I don't know how long it'll last, but it's something else to play.
Hey, you enjoy what you want to enjoy, man. But I need to give it another chance because there wasn't a lot of combat features when I played it, and like everything was just terrible. And I was like,
there are some good games that have dropped, Stridah.
I've been playing a lot of them. I've been playing some Dark and Darker. I was playing Baldur's Gate. I've kind of lost a little bit of steam. I've been not a good game. I've been playing some Madden. Every other year I get Madden. I love football, so you know.
Armored Core.
It's a shit fucking game. I got too many undertakings already for Armored Core. I would be interested in playing Starfield, but I feel like at this point I might as well wait until like next summer because I'm never gonna finish it.
Big game, I think.
I've heard very mixed things about it. I have the feeling it's probably a good game.
To me, it looks kind of mid. It looks kind of mid, but like I don't know, people love the sort of Bethesda formula. Bethesda formula is quote unquote like a mediocre experience with a lot of bugs.
Sometimes I feel like it happens with a game like that too, is the hype and expectations people have are so high that they expect it to be like an all-time great game, and then if you get an 8 out of 10, everyone's this game sucks. And
people
whatever.
expected.
And Bethesda is notorious for releasing buggy disasters.
Well,
so
they expected
if you
this
came
amazing
into it,
space game, but it's not that. It's Fallout sci-fi.
Okay, I never played a Fallout game. I've played Elder Scrolls. I actually weirdly liked Oblivion more than Skyrim. I don't know. But
if you like their type of game and you like sci-fi, then you'll probably enjoy it. It's not a bad game from what every friend has told me. It's just not this amazing, spectacular experience. It's just a good game.
I think Baldur's Gate, whether you're into it or not, is game of the year. I think there's no questions asked.
At this point,
I wouldn't complain.
At this point, I agree with that. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Scotty in his cosplay outfit? He wears like the witch's hat and stuff.
No, I have not.
Scotty, you gotta put it on one night. Yeah.
My what? What are you talking about?
I'm just making up.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I don't even stream with a cam on these days, so yeah, there's no cosplay. I cosplay off cam, boys. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I think we're at the point. Let's if we have any questions. Anyone have any questions and chats for us on gaming, Chivalry, Warhaven, Dark and Darker? I don't know. Outfit choices or cosplay.
Think y'all gotta hop on Armored Core.
Free-for-all is taking up all the players. For
yeah, really. I need to play.
Is free-for-all back on the main menu?
I don't know.
I heard that too. Something like that. I'm not sure. I haven't hopped on Shiv in like a week. I'm gonna play a little bit tonight.
Every time I play, I skip the main menu. I go to server browser.
Yeah, I just go to 64 man.
I'm gonna play tomorrow. But yeah, I'm not gonna play tonight.
When am I gonna? Liza
cool
P.
Back.
Yeah, everyone, dude, I could not believe the amount of
What the hell is that game?
It's just like a Dark Souls kind of game. But I can't believe the amount of paid streamers that were playing that game. Like it was like big streamers too. I was like, damn, they're really.
I'm interested.
They're marketing the shit out of that game. It looks all right, but I'm not like all about that Dark Soulsy kind of feel. Like I don't know. I really enjoyed the shit out of Elden Ring, but I'm not like crazy about those types of games. Really.
I don't like games like that, so that's a no for me.
But yeah, man, I don't know. You guys should. Mortal Kombat is freaking wicked, dude. I don't know, man.
I'm sure it is. I'm just not into those games,
dude. It's such a good game, and it's actually pretty dope.
Reap wants to know, does Scotty cosplay for our moms? Probably.
Oh yeah. I can't say what I wear in the bedroom with your mothers, but oh yeah.
Oh man. Oh, you got to go to our OnlyFans for that one, guys. So
yeah, you got to go to my OnlyFans page.
Starting, Scotty.
Feared One's got a good one for Dave. He said, if they know that the next update is bad, why don't they just add both updates at once?
I actually have a pretty good reason for that. A few. One, all the marketing material for 2.9 is already made, so that must have taken them actual money to pay the people to make all that. Two, you could split the battle pass into 2 separate battle passes, which means double the money. They're not going to stop that. It would be kind of out of character for them to make a battle pass have more or less content than another battle pass, because then it just makes it really weird. They want the same amount of tiers in each battle pass,
and they gotta bleed out the content over time.
Right? The trickle,
drip,
trickle
right?
effect.
Content drip.
Yeah, dude. What are they gonna do in another year if they release 2 updates at once? Huh?
So I think those are the main reasons. They've already put in the work to make this its own update, and so kind of conjoining it into 2.10 into 2.9, that would also make people wait even longer because 2.10 isn't finished. They claim they're still working on it. So if they wanted to do that, we would have to wait again for like an even longer.
See you next spring.
Yeah, so it's not really realistic for them. I don't blame them for not doing that.
No Names Like Mine wants to know, Dave, when boss runs.
Tonight,
okay.
Talking about Dark and Darker.
All right. Dave's playing some Dark and Darker. Love to see it. Banana Billbread wants to know, why do you play Archer? I'm the only one on screen right now who doesn't play Archer. Scotty's been caught, being shamed live quite a few times. He's always got an excuse.
It was Weapon Request Wednesday, dog.
Dave is like Robin Hood over there. So
look, I play everything, and so Archer isn't everything. That's why.
Giga Chad.
Oh man. At least Scotty tries to excuse it when he gets caught.
I have an excuse, man. You know I'm all about that longsword, dude. That's all I play in Battle Axe. Battle Axe.
These motherfuckers. I threw a throwing knife in the MFL, and I've been pretty anti-throwing knives in general, and these guys came out with like receipts of things that I've said in the last year. They had on demand to shame me for it. It was insane. I give them credit for it. It was some of the stuff was like I don't even remember saying some of it, but it was just like bam, like right there. Oh, fuck. All right, we're just gonna take the L here. Seasick Khan called you Robin Hood cucking tights. I could see Dave wearing tights. I could see Dave if he goes to the gym wearing the biker shorts.
No.
Wait, Soter Dave, I have a question for you. This is off topic, but on topic. Ad Mortem, are you really sure it's not going to have any PvE in the competitive stuff?
I said it will. You're saying in the competitive stuff?
Yeah, or in the 5v5 matches
am
you're
I
gonna.
Absolutely sure? No, but they said it will be a 5v5 competitive experience, and that's what it's focused on. Now,
I hope it does not.
I do not have
games.
I don't know.
Have
it might
100%.
Be cool.
I don't have 100% confirmation that it won't, but I can tell you that the people that like that type of gameplay in this genre will probably crucify them if they do that. So.
I don't know.
I don't think they'll do that.
I mean, with the
that would be
with the fantasy element, it might be kind of cool if they integrated it nicely. Because I watch Guru sometimes, and he's like talking a lot about Dota and stuff, and I'm like, oh, 5v5, like maybe they're making some kind of weird.
Could it happen?
I could see something like that. If you guys ever played the PvP in Guild Wars 2, they had like elements like that from League of Legends, like has the dragon and the other thing that gives you buffs and you go kill them. Something like that, I could see. But like For Honor.
Something that you have to fight over at least, because like if it's just a straight like hero battle arena game, I don't know if that will really land. Like that's what it would feel like. It would just be like
what you're saying would make sense because they would probably want to get as much use out of the PvE assets that they make as possible, and so implementing it somehow into the PvP would be a very smart decision.
But that and the fantasy, like I don't know, if it was just a 5v5, I think it might be less
All I know
successful.
is that they said 5v5 competitive is their focus. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah,
I said, I know what Mobius is going to do with it. I don't know what Ad Mortem is going to do with it.
Cool. Just wanted to clear that up.
All right, gentlemen, I think unless we have any more questions, I think it's time for us to wrap it up. Dave's going to go hunt bosses. Scotty's going to go shoot arrows or whatever he's doing on
Shoot arrows.
And I'm going to go play the worst game ever.
The worst game ever, huh?
According to Scotty, I'm gonna let the people judge.
Worst game, dude. I have to say it was probably the worst game I ever played in the beta, though. The beta, I haven't. I know people are enjoying the release. I'll give it another go, but. God damn, was it?
Will you?
Oh, that's what I was trying to think because I was like, there's a game that I always say is so shit. Mortal Online 2. That's it. That's what I always say is the worst.
You just angered so many people.
What, the 500 people who play it? I don't care.
Yeah, all 500 of them are gonna come after you now.
Bring them on. The angels are 1,000 strong.
You know what? One of the I'm pretty sure one of the Mobius developers is a huge Mortal Online 2 player.
That game is fucking trash, man. I Steam returned that back. It was so bad. Like that's the only game I've ever seen. I'm in the tutorial area and fucking monsters are flying in the air and shit. Like just I don't know. Nothing seems to work. On paper, it sounds like the game for me, but that game is trash. Don't.
Okay, I won't. You don't have to tell me choice.
Don't.
I do what I want, Stridah. I do what I want, dog.
Yeah. I feel like Scotty probably you have played that, right?
Yeah,
Scotty?
I played it. It's not for me, but I wouldn't say. I would say that I wouldn't say it's the worst game ever. I would say that Warhaven's the worst game ever.
Honestly, listen. I've played Warhaven. I agree. Warhaven is worse than Mortal Online 2.
yeah. For
Dave, go download Mortal right now. Dave will last about 3 seconds with that shit combat.
I already hate MMOs. You think I'm going to handle MMO and also shit combat? No, not 5 minutes.
See, I like MMOs. I would love an MMO with like some sort of like
I'm just waiting
skill-based
for
combat.
Ashes of Creation.
Let me reframe. I like MMOs. I hate grinding, and so a lot of MMO
Gloria Victus shut down their servers.
I saw that.
I think the game is just no more.
I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they put like
and they were getting
either
DDoS.
5 or 7 years
Dude,
into
they were
making
getting
that
the
game.
shit DDoS out of their servers at their release. It was sad.
I feel bad for them. That's a big game to try to make as your first game.
I heard like people didn't really like the devs a lot, but like I don't know. I still feel bad. Yeah, it's true. I still feel kind of bad for that game.
Yeah, no,
but.
I feel bad for them. I feel like the game on paper had so much good about it. It's just everything felt so indie and clunky.
Yeah,
Which,
I could agree with that. Yeah.
But
all right, guys.
all right, gentlemen. Love. I'll see you guys.
Peace out.
It's been
Much
a pleasure.
love. It has been.
All right.
See you guys later. Peace.